Welcome on, you lovely goblins and ghouls of the internet. I am Anya, your demonic cinephile, and just a couple hours ago, I got back from finally getting to watch Evil Dead Rise. Um, I did a trailer reaction when the first trailer popped out, and I loved it. And I have to say, this film does not disappoint. I am, I would say, a super big fan of all the Evil Dead films. I seen them all, own them all. Love the TV show, but I wouldn't call myself like a super fan because I haven't read any of the comics. I haven't played all the games. Really should though. I heard the new one's pretty good, but that's a different topic. This is probably my new favorite of these movies because it's like I want to say it's like the perfect. It's like a good balance between Evil Dead 2 and 2013 reboot because it has that brutal nastiness of the 2013, but it combines it perfectly with the comedy elements and the silly elements from part two. Even going back to the design of the Deadites, because the Deadites in this film, well, for the most part, aren't that grisly nastiness you saw in 2013. It's kind of like a between with how they kind of look like in the first two films, where it's not just the like how do they look like in the remake? It's like this nasty yellow, like a yellowish tone to skin, and here it's more whited out. Like they actually kind of look very corpish, like you could it looks like a ghoul, kind of like how Sam Raimi did in the first two films. Now, in terms of story, I really like the story. I think it could have been maybe it could have been a little bit longer for our tale for our tale for this Evil Dead. We follow this groupie or not groupie. She works, she's part of this band, and she comes home to visit her sister and her kids. And they're in this janky old apartment building. They're about to get kicked out anytime soon. And then, while going out for a food run, boom, the kids come back with the Book of the Dead. I did like the little building got between the kids and the mother. Like you didn't get a lot of it, but it was subtle enough for us to tell, okay, these are who the kids are, this is their personalities, these are their little quirks. It didn't felt over the head. It wasn't hitting you over the head with it, but it was just the right amount of information. And it also explains that they basically are dirt poor, so when they do come across the book, thinking that it could be worth something, it kind of makes sense why they just take it. I think the kids were pretty good developed with just who they are, because they're kids, they're simple. Um, for the mother and the sister character, I think we need a little bit more time with them. I mean, the actresses are giving an amazing performance. Don't get me wrong, perfectly. Sutherland, the the mother who's possessed, uh, grade A. She's probably I need to rewatch all the films, but she's probably up there with the top 10 Deadites. And yeah, it's just like you need a little bit more about it because you get this whole thing like, oh, their father left and he's not barely getting child support. Because the moment the dad is brought up, everyone just goes dead silent. The mom's like, she just throws the kids out of the house, like, hey, go get some food. The second half of the film, or I guess you could probably call it the second act, is when they finally get the book, when the book is revealed upon us. I'm not sure if I'm missing any kind of lore about Evil Dead that's displayed in in comics or anything, but the book here really has a strong presence to it. kind of like it did in 2013. Because the book isn't just okay, they found it. No, this big earthquake happens, and it leads to this hole on this old bank where the book is being held, and it feels like this is the powers of evil. This is the evil. This is the Deadites or the Kandorian demon or whatever rushing through to um to get the book reveal. Like this book's been dormant for too long. It needs to cause some chaos. The look of the book. This look of the book is very interesting. It's it kind of reminded me somehow like a mix between what the book looked like in Army of Darkness and the 2013 film. But I do love that it has this binding on it that kind of locks the book together. It's like made of these demonic teeth. And it's kind of like, it reminds me of the Book of the Dead from the Brendan Fraser mummy movies, where you guys feed the book the blood and just and locks itself. Again, instead of being these old tapes, it is a record. So we have the son who we see earlier in the film is kind of like a DJ wannabe. He plays the records, and I do kind of like when he is playing it and everything starts going crazy. He gets like a little shock, like the record electrocutes him when he tries to stop the chant. Like the Deadites hear him trying to stop it. Like, nope, you can't do it. The chant's being said. The things are waking up and coming to you. You can't stop it. There is a line in the during the there's a line during the recordings that says, "This is the Necronomicon or Necrona des Mortes, the Book of the Dead." The priest says something to like that is only one of the three uh, tomes, like one of the three copies of it or volumes, which is interesting because I'm wondering, is this a full-on reboot? Because when the 2013 movie came out, everyone kept saying it was a remake, but the director, Fede Alvarez, he said that it's not a remake but a continuation. That the magic, the evils within the book, kind of reset time on itself, and that's why the book looks different. That's why Ash's car is still there. So I'm wondering if this is because if all of these films are connected, does this make this new book that was shown in this movie its own separate thing, separated from the book from the previous four movies? Because according to the director, that book in the remake or 2013 film is the same book from the first two films. Or are they kind of retconning this and saying that this book, the one shown in this movie, is the third volume? We got the Ash movies, the Ash trilogy, that he had the first volume. Um, Mia and her little group, they dealt with the second volume. In this apartment, they dealt with the third volume of Book of the Dead. So I hope this gets explained later because you know they're going to do more films. And I like when the evil comes and takes the mother. They very much call back to Ash's sister when she got um it's kind of subject, assaulted by the trees. It doesn't go that far. It gets pretty nasty, but it doesn't go that far. But I do like when the Deadite takes her. It's not. It is not like a, oh, she's simply possessed now, kind of like how we've seen in the other movies. No, no, no. This thing breaks her down. It you can see her rotting and dying throughout the sequence. How she keeps switching back from herself to the Deadite. And we had this nasty scene where she just vomits this white liquid, which is kind of like how when Ash killed the Deadites in the first movie, how they were foaming and puking this white bile, and very similar to that. That was an interesting callback. I'm not sure if film, many people got to that. Another interesting callback is when they try to leave the apartment building. The elevator is closed, and when they go down to look down the stairs, the entire stair floor has collapsed upon itself. Now this is very interesting because it's kind of like because it's just like the other movies. Because in the first movie, um, it's too dark, they can't see, and the road's basically blocked. It has Shirley saying the trees won't let us leave. Get the second movie when Ash tries to drive down the road and he sees that the bridge has curled and destroyed, and he goes back to 2013 film that after the passage of the book was said, that the exit to the cabin area has been and it's a flooded. They can't cross the road. And here, after the passage was said and the Deadite took his vessel, the the floor was the stairs were destroyed and the elevator isn't working. It sets up this cosmic thing that once the game has started, the Deadites it kind of captivates you, which I don't like. I'm speculating off lore that has not been told, but it's kind of like some kind of destiny thing that like a measure. Like once the book has been spoken out loud, something happens to try to contain the evil. Because the evil doesn't want to be contained. The evil wants to spread. It wants to kill and consume everything around it. But every time that the passage is spoken, something happens to make it a little inconvenient for the evil to leave, which I think is kind of cool. And I doubt anyone making these movies will hear me say this, but if you hear this, just expand on that. Keep doing that little trick. The rest of the film, after the mother is taken over by the Deadite, is pure carnage candy. A true god splatterfest that I haven't seen in a good long time. This has been it like it's very much like 2013 level of blood and brutality, but it had still had the silliness of Evil Dead 2. Like for me, it found like good balance of depressing, bloody, and just full on goddamn nasty with oh here's a little silly moment now and then. And not much to talk about here. I don't want to spoil the whole film. Just know that bloody carnage candy all the way through. Yeah, for other parts of the film, though, I just want to mention the filmmaking itself. We have a lot of interesting camera angles, camera zooms. Well, I know Sam Raimi did not direct the film. He was one of the executive producers, and it does show there is a lot of Raimi-isms throughout this film, like a lot of certain pans and zooms, because they had this what was the shot? What was the shot? It was a shot when they were playing the tape over the thing, and it had like big zoom in on it on the speaker. And something about it just felt so rainy. There's certain edits in the film where how quick cutting it was, the energy and tempo. It felt just like a Sam Raimi film, like the Evil Dead 2, Drag Me to Hell, even a couple of Spider-Man films. Yeah, like you can tell Raimi had a lot of influence in the editing room or the people who edited the film really did love him and wanted to emulate him for the film. Okay, I want to give a quick shout out to the cast because I was looking through this casting list and I had never seen any of these actors before, and bravo to them. They all did a great job. But like I said, the characters of the sisters they need a little bit more development. But I do want to give it to the kids. I think from what I can tell, that all the kid actors are fairly new. They never been in anything before, and I wouldn't be able to tell. They pulled it off. Great performance, especially the little the little girl. Like she was perfectly fun, silly, believable, and how freaked out and terrified she looked through the whole thing. I I hope she had fun on the set. I hope she ain't having nightmares from filming this. Now, the Deadite doesn't have a particular name in this film. Kind of like unlike in 2013, where we were told that the entity called the Abomination was mostly responsible for everything going on during the film. Because in here we are shown like several passages in the book, and it kind of happening in the apartment, kind of like in 2013. Attitude of this Deadite. It wasn't like overly like what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like in 2013, where it was cruel and vicious, almost to an animalistic level of degree. And it wasn't too cartoonish and silly like in the first movies. Not to say that those movies were bad and how the dice were like. They were creepy as hell in those movies. But here it was the perfect balance where this entity was joking with the victims, but it was like that. It was joking with the victims. It was laughing at them, taunting them, picking at all their little insecurities, all the horrible things the Deadite would say to the kids while mimicking the mother's face and voice. But when every time it did act silly, you were quickly reminded that, oh no, this thing is no laughing matter. Like it has this. I just forgot to talk about during the camera work. We had this awesome sequence where you basically get this whole fight scene, but it's all taking place from the point of view of the peephole through the door. And not gonna spoil what happens in it, but it's bloody, carnage goodness. You see a bit of it in the trailer if you want to watch that. But no, this is probably like I said earlier, this is probably one of my favorite Deadites. And as soon as I get a chance to watch all these films in order, I really want to make a list comparing them. And that's all I really have to say about Evil Dead Rise. It is a great continuation of this franchise. It is a great standalone horror movie in general. If you have not seen the other Evil Dead films, you don't really need to watch them to get this, but it will enrich the experience. So if you haven't seen other Evil Dead movies, go watch them before or after this. It won't really hurt your opinion. But yeah, if you want some fun carnage candy, some good bloody mess with a with a good side helping of emotional support and drama, yep, go watch Evil Dead Rises. It's still in theaters for a little bit. I think it just hit video on demand, so you have a couple of different ways to watch it. What are your thoughts about Evil Dead Rise? Did you hate it? Did you love it? Please let me know in the comments down below. What was your favorite gory moment? What was your favorite callback to the other films? Mine personally was what was it again? The Dead by Dawn. I'm not sure why, but I love that chant. Dead by Dawn, 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 Dead by Dawn. And if you enjoyed any bit of my pathetic ranting, please click any of these videos on the side. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you have the time, I would highly appreciate you hit the button down below and come visit me on Twitch. I'm streaming back up anytime soon, and I'll love to see you guys there with me. Alright, everybody, have a good day, and remember, Dead by Dawn.